Hello everybody, how are y'all? Long time no see, right? And sorry if the video or sound is a little different than normal. I am recording on my iPad because my phone storage is acting crazy, so hopefully I have enough storage on my iPad to actually make it through everything I wanted to say in this video. So this video, I'll just hop right in. So on July 12th, 2022, obviously, I just randomly was feeling like kind of weird, kind of off. So took a pregnancy test. If you're new here, in May of this year, on Mother's Day, actually, my husband and I got a big fat positive after having a tubal reversal in June of 2021. So Mother's Day of 2022, got big fat positive. So that was May 8th. May 21st, we miscarried. And so we were actually not trying. I personally was still going through my own healing, mentally, still coming to terms with it, just coming to be okay with it, going through my own process. And so July 12th, I got a faint positive on a clear blue, and so I'll try to get it to show on here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It's on my phone, so maybe. So if you can see that, I got a faint positive. And so that was that. And then on the on the 13th, I'm doing this all backwards, y'all. On the 13th, it was actually lighter. So hold on. I dated my stick, so now I'm looking at the line progression picture. And so that was the 11th. The one I just showed you was the 11th. The 12th was a little bit darker, and then the 13th, it looked lighter than the 12th. And so I was like, well, that's weird. But again, I'll show you on my phone. So that top one is the 13th, the middle is the 11th, and that bottom is the 13th. And so I took several different kinds of tests. But yeah, so then these are, I'll just show you this one with all the, and on the 13th and 14th, these are what the first response ones looked like. If I can get, it says ring light, I'm trying to get it to show, maybe. So you can see the 13th didn't really have a strong line. The 14th, it was obviously positive. But both of those lines were strong enough to show up on the clear blue or first response app as positive, and show pregnant through their app. There we go, to show pregnant. Anywho, so yeah, and I did reach out to my doctors, got my HCG tested July 14th. It came in at 11.5. July 18th, it was 64.1. July 20th, it was 135. The 27th, 1,149. August 3rd, it was 3,539. August 9th, 5,353. And then August 11th was the last time I had it checked. It was 6,937.05. And so with those numbers, a couple things, and the reason I'm making this video, I want to talk about several different things. The main thing to come out of this video is about advocating for yourself when it comes to your health. Please, 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 no matter what the health issue is that you're having, always make sure that if something is not feeling right, sounding right, please don't ever stop advocating for yourself. Even if it means you have to change doctors, drive 30 minutes to another doctor, you know, if you feel like you're bothering the doctor's office, just don't stop. And I'll get more into that here in a second. So the month of July, everything seemed okay. They were waiting for my HCG to hit 2,000 so that they could do an internal ultrasound to see if, do like a placement to make sure baby was in the right spot. And so August 3rd, that 3,539 number, they went ahead and scheduled me for an ultrasound. I was supposed to have my ultrasound Friday, August 5th, at 3 p.m., which I did. But August 1st, that Monday, I was in an all-week training. Sorry if you can hear my dogs barking. They're going crazy. I was in an all-week training that week up in a different town. I was driving back and forth. But, like, towards the end of the day, Monday, the 1st, like 30 minutes before the training was supposed to be over, I went to the bathroom, and all day I had felt fine. I wasn't doing like anything crazy. I still had like the morning sickness, but I went to the bathroom and there was blood, and it wasn't like spotting. It was like I had started my period, like a first day, you know, like where you wipe and it's like blood, but it's not like in the toilet, but it's like, oh, okay, I'm getting ready to start, like I should put a pad on or something like that. And so I was like, well, that's kind of weird. And so I put one on because I still had one in my purse. And I finished my day out, went home, and just kind of took it easy the rest of the night. But the rest of the night, like nothing. There wasn't anything on the pad, nothing when I went to the bathroom, no cramping. Tuesday, no, I take that back. Monday, it take that all back. Monday, it continued bleeding, and it actually got a lot heavier. And I tried to go actually to my local ER, and I was there from like 10:30 until 2:30 in the morning, and I still had not been seen. And so I just decided, hey, like I gotta be up and at my next day of training by 8 in the morning, and having the miscarriage, you know, in May. I was like, I mean, they didn't do anything then besides, you know, tell me, you know, there's nothing we can do to intervene. If you go, you know, irregular, if you bleed through, you know, a pad within an hour, you know, the whole standard. And so I was like, I know what to do if that's what's happening. So I just went home. I sent a message through my patient portal to my doctor and was like, I still plan to go Wednesday for the blood draw to see like if numbers go down. And so they wrote back Tuesday morning. I sent my boss a message. She told me to actually stay home Tuesday. And so I missed my training that Tuesday, the 2nd. Stayed home, took it easy, rested all day. That's when the bleeding had kind of like tapered off. I wasn't really bleeding, no cramping. I just kind of laid in bed, just got up to eat, use the bathroom, that type of deal. So then Wednesday the 3rd, got my blood drawn that morning. And so when it came back around 8:30 that morning, I received a message because I got my blood drawn before I left around 6 a.m. So about 8:30, I got a message on patient portal and my blood was at 3,539. And so I sent a message back like, hey, like I'm kind of confused, like with the bleeding and stuff, like how it's going up, but it doesn't seem like it went up enough, because July 27th it was at 1,149. Now it's August 3rd and it's only gone up to 3,539. And so that's when they scheduled the ultrasound for the 5th, to see like placement, see if they could see anything, and things like that, just to kind of get a better picture. So from the 3rd, that Wednesday, to the 5th, that Friday, the bleeding kind of eased up and went from like bleeding to more of like spotting to like only when I wiped. Not really any cramping, but I was still having like morning sickness. I was still tired, still did not like certain smells, and still only wanted certain foods to eat. I was extremely thirsty, and those are really the only signs or symptoms that I was having. And I was peeing a lot. And so Friday came. I left my training early that Friday, went to get the ultrasound. The ultrasound only took like 15 minutes, because it was like a placement type ultrasound and I had the bleeding. They didn't let me see the screen or anything. They had to wait until like the doctor and everyone could interpret the actual ultrasound to tell me anything. And this is where it gets kind of interesting, because my regular doctor was on vacation until August 10th, which I was aware of. So this entire time, it was another doctor that had been sending in like the orders and telling the nurses like what to tell me, and putting in like the ultrasound order and things like that. Let me make that clear. It was not my regular doctor. And I am not familiar with this doctor that was covering for my doctor's patients. And so this doctor that was covering for my doctor was not in the hospital that Friday the 5th. The doctor that was on call was not in the hospital. She was in another facility at the time, so she could not look at the results of the ultrasound right that second. And she told the ultrasound tech to tell me that I should, because the way it's set up, like my OB office is, like they have a physician side inside the hospital, and so like the emergency room, hospital, all that's on one side, and then like the doctor's office, pediatrician, OB is like on the opposite end of the hospital. They told me I should go to the emergency room, get checked in there, and then have them do an exam and then get my results that way. With my insurance, if I go to the emergency room and I am not admitted, I have a $400 copay. Mind you, I was fully aware when I went Monday, I was still going to get billed a copay. Even though I was not seen, I still went. I was checked in. Even though I chose to leave, I'm still going to get that $400 bill. So I already had that one bill I knew was coming. And I'm like, if this is just a regular miscarriage, and like my life is not in danger, it's not ectopic, like if there's something wrong and it's just a miscarriage, like I get y'all don't want to tell me that and a doctor is supposed to tell me, but I'm not gonna pay basically $800 in total for 2 ER visits in a week just for that. And so what I did was I called my OB office. I spoke to the nurse because, you know, it's all the same hospital. Everything's uploaded to patient portal basically immediately. And I spoke to one of the nurses in the doctor's office, and I said, hey, I just had my ultrasound done. This is what the on-call doctor is requesting that I do. I explained, like, financially, I really don't have $800 to pay. Like, if I can avoid another $400 copay, like, if my life is, my exact words were, if my life is not in danger, if it's not an ectopic pregnancy that they saw on the ultrasound, like, can you look at the results and tell me if it's not emergency, if my life is not in danger, like, can you please just tell me if it's a regular miscarriage? And so she said, you know, looking at the results of what was said, it appears to be just a regular miscarriage. She apologized, of course, and said, you know, if you bleed through this number of pads within this number of hours, you do need to go to the ER, things like that, if you have severe cramping. And so I said, okay, thank you. Left it at that. She said, you know, we do want to see another week if your levels are going down. So they put in another order for HCG just to make sure it was going down on August 9th. So the following Tuesday, I got my blood drawn, and my levels were at 5,353. August 3rd, they were 3,539. Right. So again, still rising very slowly, but I'm having a miscarriage. Why are they going up, not down? So I questioned that, and I said, why are my levels going up and not down? And again, it's the 9th, so not the 10th. My doctor's not back yet. And the doctor covering said, her response was, well, it's likely that you hit your peak HCG levels the 4th or 5th of August, and so now they're going back down. And I said, back in the patient portal, I started bleeding August 1st, so how would my levels hit their peak on the 4th or 5th? I had the ultrasound the 5th where you guys told me I was having a miscarriage, and now on the 9th, my levels have gone up. I said, that doesn't make sense. I said, and I'm still feeling sick. I still have pregnancy symptoms. I said, this doesn't make sense to me. The nurse replied and said, it doesn't make sense to me, but this is what I won't say her name. This is what the doctor is saying. And I said, when does my doctor return back to the office? Because this does not make sense to me, and I don't think it's right. And so she said, you know, the 10th, she comes back. The 11th of August, I was working from home, and I got up and around 12:30 went to the bathroom, 12:30 p.m. went to the bathroom, and just a regular, like, peeing, nothing weird. Came back, sat in my office chair, the chair I'm sitting in now, excruciating pain the moment I sat down, to the point where I could not stand up straight. I was still bleeding, like, this entire time. Like, the blood never stopped. Like, it would lighten, but it never stopped. So from the 1st until the 11th, at this point, I've still been bleeding. Excruciating, could not stand up straight. I tried walking. I tried a, like, heating pad. I tried holding it. I tried massaging. Nothing. I was dizzy. I felt like I was getting ready to pass out. I broke out in a cold sweat. First thing I thought was, I'm getting ready to die. And then I remembered an episode of Grey's Anatomy where Christina, if you guys have ever seen that show, Christina passed out from an ectopic pregnancy. And she had some of the same symptoms. And I knew I had to get to a hospital ASAP. And that's what I did. I went back to my regular hospital. They had a 3-hour wait time to be seen in the emergency room. And when I explained what was happening, she said, you know, you can have a seat and we'll get you in as soon as possible. And I said, I cannot wait. I looked around the waiting room for the emergency room. and a man was bleeding from the head and bleeding through his galls. And I'm thinking, if they aren't able to get him in any sooner and he's bleeding from his head this badly, I'm going to sit in this emergency room and die. Like, that was the thought I had. And so I told her not to check me in because, I'm thinking another $400. And I drove to the other hospital in my town, the one I do not like, I've never gone to in my life. But that's how severe the pain was. Like, I knew I needed to be seen. And my doctor, my OB does not have privileges at that hospital. But again, I thought this is what was happening. So I knew I needed to be seen by someone. So I get there, and when I tell you, I get into their emergency room, and I'm like holding onto the desk so I don't pass out. And he's like, "Who drove you here?" And I'm like, "Myself." And he was like, "Okay, yeah, no, let's get you back here." They got a pee sample from me. They drew blood. They did an ultrasound right there in my little room as soon as I got there. And then he was like, initially the ER doctor was like, "Well, with this ultrasound machine, like, I can't see anything, but like, I want to get like an actual ultrasound tech to do an ultrasound on you, to figure out what's going on." And like with that hospital, so my regular like primary care doctor is tied to that hospital, even though I don't go to that hospital. So I have a patient portal for that also, so I could see the results that were coming back as they came in. And so my blood level on the 11th was 6,937.05. So it had gone up from the 9th, which was 5,353. On the 11th, it was 6,937.05. So it went up again, which I knew then, okay, I'm looking at probably an ectopic pregnancy. And so I was scared because I'm alone, for one, and I hate hospitals. Two, I knew there was a chance you can die from that. And I'm like, I have 4 kids at home, like my mom, my husband, like all this stuff rushing through your head. And then also, like, you can lose your fallopian tube with that. And I know there's all these other risks, like internal bleeding. Everything is just racing through my head. And so I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, okay, trying to stay calm. They take me down for an ultrasound. I will say this other hospital did a very thorough job of doing an ultrasound. It took at minimum 45 minutes. They did one on top of my abdomen, and then they did an internal one. The internal one was extremely painful, and they did an awesome job. I will say that. And so they did their part. Again, obviously they didn't show me the screen, anything like that. And so once they got the results and everything, the doctor came in, confirmed it was what they thought an ectopic pregnancy on my right side. And so he wanted to give me a shot to try to stop the cells from growing so that it didn't rupture, because he thought that it was small enough that if he gave me the shot, it would prevent it from rupturing my tube and prevent any kind of like internal bleeding, things like that. And so while he was talking to like the pharmacist and everything, because he wanted to give me a shot, but my luck, I got a doctor who was very new. Like the nurse said, he was a fresh doctor. So I don't know how fresh is fresh, but my nurse was a man who had been a nurse for like 20 some odd years. And he was like, I've never seen them do the shot. Usually it's a pill. We give you a dose now, and then in 2 days you take another dose at home. And basically it was like the abortion medication, which I was very nervous about because, as you know, the recent rulings, and I was like, is this like someone gonna come arrest me later? Like, I just had so many thoughts and feelings on everything at that moment. I was just like, I don't want to die from internal bleeding at this point. So yeah, the shot was methotrexate. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm looking at my phone. And there was 2 shots actually, two shots, in your butt cheek. Well, that's your hip, like the top of your hip area. And them suckers burn. But I sent, as I'm sitting there waiting, you know, my patient portal from this one hospital that I don't go to, I am like downloading it all to my phone and sending it all to my regular OB so that come Friday the 12th, my regular OB can see it first thing in the morning so she knows what the heck is happening, what I was just given. Like, I have no clue if he's talked to any kind of OB at this other hospital. Like, I don't know what his practice is. He's asking me, like, who's your regular OB? How do you spell that? And that's at, like, and I'm just, like, praying, like, I hope this medicine, like, doesn't cause, like, any issues. Like, I'm saying every prayer possible, from please don't let me die, please don't let me have a reaction, please don't let me get arrested. Every prayer possible, I'm saying it as I'm sitting in that bed waiting, because at this time now it's like 7:15, because I left at 7:45. I had to stay for 30 minutes for them to monitor me after I got the shot. Got the shot at 7:15 p.m. on Thursday the 11th. And I was able to leave at 7:45 p.m. on Thursday the 11th. So I was there from 1 p.m. until 7:45 p.m. I had not ate anything all day on Thursday. They did not offer me anything to eat, anything to drink. I was miserable. I was grouchy. I'm sure I was not the nicest patient. I was scared. Aside from the nurse, the doctor was not, like, his bedside manner sucked. And I told him that. I was like, I know you're new, but your bedside manners suck. You need to work on that. And so I'm like sending all of these reports, all the pictures, everything to my regular OB in that patient portal so she can have everything. And so I leave there. I'm still in pain, still uncomfortable. I take some Tylenol because they say not to take, the discharge paper said not to take ibuprofen with the shot that I was given. So I take Tylenol when I get home. I ate something and I go to bed. Friday the 12th, I'm supposed to be in all-day training for my job. It's at home, so I do that. We get a lunch break around 12:30. Supposed to be back on the meeting at 1:15. So I get back on at 1:15. No, at 1:05. I get back on at 1:05. At 1:15, my phone rings. It's my regular OB calling, which my boss knew I was waiting for that call because I told her I had sent everything. My boss is amazing, by the way. Let me just say that. She is the most amazing, understanding, supportive boss I have ever had. Let me just get that out there. And so I, like, turn my camera off, mute my computer, take the call, and she says, I'm looking at everything you sent me. The shot they gave you, they should not have given it to you. That is given way earlier than how far along you should be in this pregnancy. It is not going to be effective. The ultrasound shows that you are possibly already bleeding and have fluid or blood in your pelvic area and your stomach. The pregnancy is in your tube. You need to come to the hospital. Come to the emergency room. Tell them your name. They will know that you are coming and they will escort you to your room. You need to have surgery. Okay? Okay. I said I will call my mom, have her come get my kids. I got to get them situated. I did that. My mom came and got them. I got myself to the hospital. My husband had to get off work, everything. I get to the hospital. That's a whole ordeal. I take out all 13 piercings. Fast forward through it all. After the surgery and everything, I lost my right tube, but I'm alive. There was blood in my belly already. My left tube is still fine. It's still intact. And I'll do a second part on that. But advocate for yourself. If something is not right, something does not sound right, do not stop just because a doctor says it's fine. If it still does not sound fine, in your heart, in your gut, in your body, do not stop. Don't accept it just because it's a doctor who went to school for 8+ years saying it's fine. You don't have to accept that. At the end of the day, it's your body. You know you best, right? So advocate for yourself no matter what. At the end of the day, it's your final decision because it's your body. You have the final say so. I'm going to do a part 2 because I know this is getting long, but I wanted to share this first half first, and then I'll do a follow-up probably in a week or so. But yeah, that's it for this first part. So until next time, bye guys.